Hello, everyone. Welcome to badgerbeat.com. Rob Hernandez here at the Final Four with my college classmate, Andy Katz. I don't know if I haven't said that very often. And we're going to play a little game here with Andy today. It's our second consecutive Final Four covering the Badgers together. But, Andy, we go back in time, our third Final Four. Do you remember our first Final Four?
That would have been women's soccer.
Yes.
I can't remember the year, if that was 89, 90, 88, somewhere in there.
All right.
And it was in... Was it in at NC State? I think
it was North Carolina.
Okay.
It was North Carolina, and we'll get to one question about that trip in a
Okay,
second here.
all right.
But I've got the program. It's 1988.
Okay.
Right here, the Badger women's soccer team first Final Four. So let's test Andy Katz's knowledge of women's soccer circa 1988.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with an easy one. North Carolina was the Kentucky of the tournament, coached by a guy who was probably the Coach K of women's soccer. Do you remember his name?
Anson Dorrance.
Oh, you are too good. Too good. We did not rehearse this, folks. All right, now, even I have to look and cheat on this one. A couple questions about the Badgers. The Badgers' leading scorer going into the tournament that year was? Points overall, or I'll give you a bonus credit if you give me the top goal scorer.
Okay. Cheryl Waterhouse.
Close. She was right smack dab in the middle. You want me to help you out?
Okay.
Patty Worth, former Madison West great,
okay.
was the top point getter, 17 points. Amy Warner, the top goal scorer, was 7. Now, you might remember this one. Who was the goalie that year? She was a freshman, and she's now a doctor in Omaha. I just looked it up.
Ooh, you've stumped me here. By the way, am I in that program? Because I was I filled in almost as like the SID for that trip. If you remember, I doubled up as a reporter and SID.
You were the Tam Flair
Yes.
of women's soccer that year. I forgot about that. How did you talk your way into that?
Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that they couldn't afford to send someone. So we actually, by me going on their dime, it allowed us to send multiple people from the Cardinal.
That's right. Okay, very good. Very good. All right, so back to the question. You're trying to dodge the question. Top goalie, the goalie going in there was, I'll help you out, Heather Taggart.
Okay.
Heather Taggart. And, of course, you remember who the coach of the Badgers was at that time.
That was Ryan.
Right, Greg Ryan. Greg Ryan.
Controversial coach.
Now, yes. Back then, nicest guy in the world.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, am I not wrong?
I was shocked when I saw the controversy after the fact with the U.S. women's team.
Right. You didn't seem like, there was nothing like that back then.
No.
But, of course, Andy, it was nothing like what it is now at Wisconsin back then. The Badgers, I mean, that was one of their marquee sports. Yeah. Are you kind of stunned that this Badger basketball team has come back here for a second straight year?
Yes. I mean, when we were at the Cardinal, women's soccer was elite.
Mm-hmm.
Track, because obviously Stephanie Herbst, classmate, and hockey.
Right.
Hockey was the dominant program. Now I could rattle off a bunch of names, from Dwayne Dirksen to Chris Tansel to Sean Hill to Gary Shuchuk.
Yes. They were just honored, in fact, for like their 25th anniversary of their national
it was
championship.
1990 at Joe Louis Arena.
Oh my goodness.
So they won the national championship that year. I think it was BU, Colgate, Wisconsin, and I can't remember the fourth. Might have been Minnesota. I'm not sure. But those were the dominant sports, because that was the Don Morton Veer era.
Yes.
Because Barry Alvarez came in my senior year, but I wasn't there when his first season.
Sure.
And then the Yoder years that we all look so fondly over, when they were basically a great goal was being 500 and getting the NIT, and they produced a ton of CBA players. This is pre-D League, okay? So this is pre-D League, and Wisconsin really dominated the CBA, from Willie Sims to Kurt Portman, Danny Jones, maybe Patrick Tompkins went to the CBA.
Yeah.
I don't know if they are, Michael Finley came after that. He was not a Yoder guy. So I don't know if Yoder had an NBA player. I'm almost positive it was all CBA players from Wisconsin.
And so now a chance to, who knows, on the heels of giving Kentucky a scare last year, can this team possibly get to the championship game on Monday?
Well, if they do that, I think they're going to win the national championship.
Really?
Okay, I think they can beat Duke, a second time where they weren't able to the first time, and they can beat Michigan State. Look, if they're going to knock off Kentucky, Kaminsky's got to stay out of foul trouble. They're going to have to make timely shots, can't turn the ball over. And I think Decker's going to have a game like he had against Arizona. Can it happen? Sure, it can happen. But this is a different Kentucky team than a year ago. Willie Cauley-Stein didn't play in that game. Trey Lyles, Devin Booker, Tyler Ulis, they were there because they're freshmen this season. It's not going to be a massive upset because this is an elite team from Wisconsin. It'll be a surprise, but I do believe all the pressure is on Kentucky.
Okay.
I think for the first time this season, there's no pressure on Wisconsin. The pressure on Wisconsin was to win the Big Ten and get here. They've done that.
Right.
They don't have the pressure anymore. So it'd be, and I will say this, and I challenge people, I don't know if they would buy me on this one, but I think a Wisconsin national championship in this sport, in the way it's mushroomed into how mega event it is, I think this would be the second biggest sporting victory in the state of Wisconsin behind a Packers Super Bowl.
Really?
I think Packers Super Bowl is 1. A Wisconsin men's basketball national championship would be 2 in the entire state.
Wow. Strong words from Andy Katz. Although
do you buy that?
I would
over
agree.
Over the Bucks, over the Brewers.
Yes.
Okay?
I mean, the Brewers could win the series in this October, and this would still be bigger.
And look, Wisconsin now has been to Rose Bowls. Okay. Now, if you're going to tell me, if they win the football championship game, that would be a big deal. It would.
Right.
But I think the fact that you've got a program here that had been so bad for so long, if they win the national championship, and to do it, they'd have to actually beat Kentucky.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
An undefeated Kentucky. I think that raises it even higher, especially if they, let's hypothetically, beat Kentucky and then beat Duke to win the national championship.
Yes.
I would put this right below a Packers Super Bowl.
And finally, where would this, if that happens, if that scenario plays out, where would that put this Badger team in the history of college basketball and perhaps their whole profile going forward under Bo Ryan?
I think it changes it dramatically because I think Wisconsin had the hardest road to get here. An Oregon team that was very good, beating a blue blood in North Carolina, and then an Arizona team that a lot of people thought could beat Kentucky, and was sort of like a 1A in terms of a 1 seed. Then you beat Kentucky and maybe Duke. I mean, has there been a team that went through that kind of gauntlet to win a national championship? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Well, we started out talking women's soccer. He commandeered this into a college basketball talk. It's just like when we were back in school, when you would veer the conversation to UMass this, Amherst that. But Andy Katz, ESPN.com. Andy, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rob.